Howdy one, howdy all. Running a little bit late, but we're on air and we're all sorted. And you have to tell me if there's audio and how it all sounds. We'll get ourselves started in a couple of minutes' time. Yeah, it's been an interesting week, hasn't it? But then again, I put a tweet out this today along the lines of now I've lived through 6 decades, the 80s, the 90s, the noughties, the 10s, the 20s, and March. Safe to say it's been a week. But listen, we're going to do our best to come together and huddle together. We've got ourselves a Patreon that's currently rolling by. These are the people that are currently on my Patreon list. However, these will be updated tomorrow, purely because we do have a couple of new patrons who have supported us because I got the Double Clicks album live. Hello, Michael. You have to tell me if you can hear me properly because we had those audio issues last week. So please let me know you can hear me. Yeah, we had ourselves the Double Clicks Live in Leeds album recorded in 2019. I did a cracking cover of it, I think, which kind of it homages the Who live in Leeds. And I had one or two people who recognised it, and they got the gist of what I was doing with that. I can hear you, but some static. Okay, well, let's see if we can do something about that. Bear with me a second. Yes, you're going to have to tell me if the audio improves. Because I think we might even just use the microphone on the webcam, which may be easier. Who knows? Yeah, just let me know if that works. But Michael P is joining us. Hello there, Michael. Welcome along. I'm also going to keep an eye on. Oh yeah, there's something else I need to do as well. Go to Facebook. Go to the actual stream, because I discovered that if the stream is not public, then I can't actually see the comments, and that's the reason why. So yeah, I'm going to have to also find out about the YouTube one as well. Turn it off. There we go. But yeah, let me know if the audio is better. Spread the word as well. Once I made this public, which will be now, you can spread the word, share the Facebook page certainly, and let everyone know that we're live. Hello there, Aaron Neighbours. Happy birthday to you, sir, for yesterday. Hopefully you had a cracking day under the circumstances, because I do know that, well, unfortunately, that's the way it is. It's just poor circumstances, unfortunately. So let me just slight change of audio because I need to get my swag. As I did a stream, a little Periscope thing. Put a Periscope thing up, and I basically stated that what we're going to be talking about today is your favorite swag as gotten from any Comic-Con, not just San Diego. We're going to talk about those prized possessions, those things that you've picked up at cons. We're also going to give the opportunity to join the live stream, because it is all about you and about your contribution to the whole thing. Let me just see. You can shush. And basically, I'm going to put a comment up with the link to the stream so you can join. Now, admittedly, the stream, it'll show up down at the bottom, and I can bump any unnecessary or unwanted streams. But to be honest, most people, I think, are quite good and kind We've got ourselves a fair number of people who are watching, and I'm certain that if you do want to jump in with any comments or anything you want to talk about, we're going to get into a bit of news as well. But yeah, we'll get into all of that very shortly indeed. Yeah, we're running a bit late, aren't we? So we could actually do with just knocking all this off and just diving in. Might be an idea. So we'll do the count. We've done the countdown. It's 4 minutes past, so I think it's time we dived in. Hello there, everybody. Welcome along to Talkin Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. I know I shared the information and the update about what we're doing with the show on various Facebook groups this morning. So hopefully we may have one or two people that jumped in that may not have been on the stream before or don't know what we're up and about. Basically, each and every week, we talk Comic-Cons, con news, fandom, culture, and all the fun and games that surrounding it. Basically, it's turned into a little bit of a group therapy session. It's a way that we can all come together to talk about things that have happened in the world of Comic-Cons and comic culture. But it's also just kind of like come together as a group hug and talk about things that we want to talk about. For example, I could kind of get into some nerd news, which we're going to do very shortly indeed. We'll get into that in a minute. I can also let you know about a couple of interviews that's coming up. And also those people that do or are aware that we've now gone bi-weekly, which means we did our first Wednesday show last week. Admittedly, it was on the Thursday due to a bit of life interrupting here at Shasa Sultana. So basically, it was a bit of a strange one last week. But we were here on Thursday. We did kind of get into some interesting topics, and we'll talk about that very shortly indeed, considering that things happened very, very fast on that particular day. However, what we can talk about certainly is a topic of conversation, which is something I'm going to dive into in a minute. Your favorite con swag, those items that you picked up at conventions, either you got handed for free or you won in a competition. Doesn't have to be San Diego either. It could be any convention going. I mean, so Lister Swag is saying when we say swag, is it just freebies? Or is it stuff we bought to? Yeah, it's this. You can anything that you walked away from a con that you are more than happy and proud about. I mean, for example, if I just lean over here, let's see what I've got here. This is from the Lego booth, and I managed to pick one of these up, which is the Sheriff Deadpool, which sold for ridiculous money online and still kind of does, but I keep hold of it because it's just a really I quite like it. It's a cool little figure. So I got that for free from a comic convention. Some other stuff there, but we'll get into whatever. If you've got your own favorites, do let us know. Andrew English, I missed the midweek podcast. Only realized after it finished. Well, you can watch back, of course. We are on Twitch, we're on Periscope, Twitter, we're on YouTube, and we're on Facebook, and of course. You can comment on any of those and you can watch on any of those. I wouldn't mind if you watched on Periscope because then you could give super hearts perhaps. And you can also watch on Twitch and you can kind of do some donations on that. Basically, at this point, this is pretty much all I'm doing. I can't DJ at the moment. So that means that unfortunately, I'm not earning. So any contribution to the Patreon, I'm more than grateful for. And any super hearts that you want to give in on on Periscope, or if you're watching it on YouTube, I think you can still do some of the donations on that. Who knows? But there we go. Let's see what else we've got. People saying hello and jumping in. So let's start from the top and jump down the line because we've got ourselves Michael P, who's saying hello, good morning all. Like I say, Aaron Neighbors is watching. Hola from San Diego. Celebrated his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to you, Aaron. Into the Blue Misters watching. Hello, folks. Michael P is jumping in with a comment. Any bets on date for Hotel Apocalypse? It would have been about now, wouldn't it? So that, unfortunately, it's down to non-existent. And I actually said on the Wednesday show that it is a case of Hotel Apocalypse. it could be run very, very late indeed. We could see anything like a week to 2 week turnaround if they decided to open up the convention center and open it for business again for San Diego Comic-Con in July. Admittedly, I did watch the live stream from San Diego News 10 of their efforts of homing and looking after the unsheltered and homeless of the San Diego population, doing their best to keep them safe and healthy, and give them social distance, give them the chance to get the best out of life, and also help everyone in the San Diego region for the fighting coronavirus. And I thought it was an excellent initiative that they put forward. They're doing it in tiers, and they're hoping to get something in the region of 1,500 people in the convention center, all looked after, showered, fed, and kept under social distance, and tested as well, and make sure that they're all safe and healthy. But as a number of people have mentioned, that's quite an infrastructure to put into place. That's obviously not something that it's a couple of weeks bandage. It's a long-term thing, and also you do then have to decontaminate to some degree the convention center directly after. So it's just a long-term solution at San Diego Comic-Con for the efforts in San Diego for coronavirus. I think it speaks volumes about what they're thinking further on into the year, just to say. Let's have a look at what else we've got. Johnny C is watching on Periscope. Cheers, Lenny. Hello there, Johnny. Welcome to you. Sarita P is watching. Good day, all. And our new English is saying hello, all from London. But like I say, we are talking about those things that you picked up at a convention. I'd love to see them, and I'm sure everyone else will as well. So what I'm going to do is actually post in the YouTube stream is the actual link to the broadcast, and that means that you can join in if you have a webcam, or if you have a smartphone and with has a browser involved. You can in fact join. So I'm going to hit enter now. Like I say, I can keep a track on who's actually coming into the stream. So if there's anybody that is untoward, is rude, or is generally just misbehaving, we can kind of kick them out. But anyone who we know the general community that watch this show. So if you are interested, grab hold of that swag first, get it to hand, and we'll do what we can to look at those favorite memories, those items, because we talked about panels on Wednesday. But this is swag, those freebies or things that you walked away from a Comic-Con. Please do showcase. Andrew English is saying any t-shirt I picked up free from a con. I remember in 2010, my first Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, and we walked away with like 2 years worth of t-shirts between myself and Caroline. We did very, very nicely indeed. Into the Blue Mister foam chainsaw from San Diego Comic-Con for Sharknado 2. And the one I'm incredibly jealous about, which, to be fair, I have been looking on eBay, and I wouldn't mind one of these at all, which is the CCI Toucan Pop, which he bought. I personally think that's an amazing souvenir and a keepsake from San Diego Comic-Con 50. The Toucan Pops are just absolutely amazing. I do keep an eye on YouTube every once in a while just to see if I can grab hold of one relatively cheap. Andrew English, most of my freebies I hand out to my friends and work colleagues. Understandable if you bring enough back. I mean, it's rather handy to have a suitcase full of cheap presents to give to people. Michael P, Star Trek Beyond swag, t-shirt, 3 DVDs, box lunch, water, popcorn, and a cap. Very nice indeed. Karen Sessions is saying hello. Good afternoon from New York. New York, of course, bearing the brunt of CV at the moment. So I just want to say from all of us, stay safe to everyone in New York, and just hope that things improve in the city, not only for the health service and the efforts that you're putting in, but just generally, I really hope that the city bounces back. It's a city that has, over the years and over the decades and centuries, it is a resilient city full of resilient people, and we fully expect New York to do that. Karma Savage, the swag given out by the service ladies at the first to see Captain America, the first Avengers screening during San Diego Comic-Con 2011. Captain America 3D glasses, t-shirt, and the Tyler Stout Mondo poster. Very tasty indeed. As it happens, I think that's kind of a nice little segue into my little contribution to the conversation. 2011, I went to the queue for the Captain America First Avenger screening. I was very much interested in seeing that film. Caroline and I both got in the queue. We were up for seeing it, except it was just incredibly busy from the word go. I think Caroline missed out by about 2 people. I jumped out of the queue because I was actually more interested in something that was put up on the billboard on the actual plastering over the Hilton Bayfront of that particular year, which was the announcement of Cowboys and Aliens world premiere. They were actually going to be doing a full-blown Hollywood premiere at San Diego Comic-Con. Jon Favreau promised it the year before when they'd done the Cowboys and Aliens panel in Hall H, which nobody expected. Nobody knew what on earth this thing was all about. And then Harrison Ford comes out, Daniel Craig comes out, and the cast and crew, and it really was just something that came out of nowhere, and it was very, very impressive to see as a panel. But 2011, they put on the billboard that they were going to be doing a treasure hunt. This also included a Twitter link that you could follow, and that was when I joined Twitter. That would have been July 2011. I joined it just to follow Jon Favreau. He's actually the person who's at #1 in my follow list on Twitter, and that's where it pretty much all started. I was also suffering from a pulled back that particular year, so I had psoriasis down my leg. I was limping all over the shop. When they were doing announcements of Cowboys and Aliens giveaways at locations, at which point I tried to get there in time and limped. So the whole business of signing up for Twitter kind of backfired because I wasn't able to get to any of the locations in time. As it happens, I heard through a rumor that there was going to be a signing of one of my favorite artists of all time, which is Drew Struzan. Legendary movie artist, and by all accounts he had done a poster for Jon Favreau as a limited edition for Cowboys and Aliens. Now there was no guarantee, but there was the rumor as well that there was going to be a giveaway of tickets to go and see the world premiere, which I wanted to take Caroline to see. To go and see a Hollywood premiere. We had no idea what to expect, so that's what we did. Like I say, about 8:30 we'd gone to try and get in the line for Captain America First Avenger. That failed, at which point I just staggered down to the Hard Rock just to get the lay of the land for around 9 o'clock in the morning. The idea was that the signing was going to be for around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Because I had gone down just to see what the lay of the land was, I hadn't taken any preparation. I hadn't taken any sunscreen. Like I say, this is the second year in San Diego, so I was still getting my head around the climate, still getting my head away around the actual the city itself. At which point there was a line of around 12 people already. And I thought, you know what, I'm not going to miss my shot. I don't know how many tickets they're going to be giving away or how many posters they're going to give away or whatever they're going to do. So I'm going to jump in the line. And from 9 o'clock, I got in the line at the Hard Rock. It was overcast, so I thought I was perfectly fine. At which point the sun arced just around the top of Petco Park. We just thought, okay, it's looking like an overcast day. I think I'm going to be okay. Got that 45 minutes as it came over the Omni and over the Hard Rock. At which point it then came over the top and just sunburnt me into the ground. I was pretty much under a magnifying glass the whole time, and I just got absolutely sunburnt. Hello, Lincoln Livesey. Welcome along. I hope everyone's feeling good. Thanks for joining us on the Facebook. And of course, Brandon Troy saying 2011 show. I remember that. Yes. Welcome along. It's good to have you there. Help you along. So, yes, the picture that I have from the I believe it was the Thursday night. We got back to the apartment after I'd done what we needed to do throughout the day, and I was absolutely beetroot red. I was, hang on, that kind of red. I was absolutely burnt into the ground. A little bit worse for wear, but I got to meet Drew Struzan. and sat next to him as well was Jon Favreau, and they were giving out these incredible prints, these limited edition prints that Drew had done. And the Brandon Troy, after leaving the cap screening, I was able to locate a gold brick which got me into the Cowboys premiere. Well, you did that, and I didn't. I got sunburnt for it. So, yeah, it's all well and good. It's kind of swings and roundabouts. You got the gold brick. I got a limited edition. I mean, we're talking how many? What's the number on that? 500. Not too shabby. A original Drew Struzan, which is my pride and joy. Like I say, I'm a huge Drew Struzan fan. So this particular print it means a lot to me. So to have Drew sign it and also Jon Favreau on there. And I remember saying to Drew Struzan, Drew Struzan, I was just in awe of, and I turned around to Jon Favreau and said, "It's a pleasure to meet you. Congratulations on the film, but I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to talk to this man here, Drew Struzan. Will you please come out of retirement, because you're an icon to me. He is one of those people that has defined what a classic cinema poster is. Before Photoshop took over and the marketing departments just ruined the art of marketing a film. Drew Struzan is the guy from my childhood, from the Indiana Jones, from the Star Wars films, from that classic Thing image, from E.T. The man is just a legend to me. So to have that, he's done a couple of Harrison Fords in his time. There you go. That's his first Daniel Craig. The film wasn't great, but that's where I kind of show you my other piece of swag, which is we got the wristband, which I've trimmed there because I've put it in the frame for the world premiere, and we got ourselves the golden tickets to get in. And to be fair, to attend a Hollywood premiere in San Diego, to be sat behind, as we discovered, the row behind the Big Bang Theory cast. They were in the row in front, and then to our right, a good 10, 15 foot, we were sat within kind of popcorn throwing distance of Steven Spielberg, of Harrison Ford, of Daniel Craig, both of their misses, the cast and crew, and it really was an interesting thing to see Steven Spielberg in your direct line of sight. And then, of course, the film went on. Admittedly, like I say, the film has some issues. Brandon Troy, the after party outside was fun. We were fed and watered, free beer, free food, at which point I did have a couple of beers and did tear a couple of holes in Cowboys and Aliens. But anyone who's seen the film will understand that those holes exist. My big regret is seeing over the other side of the after party Rick Baker, the legendary visual effects artist, makeup legend. And I didn't go over and say hello, and I should have done. And I actually got told on Twitter by Rick Baker that I should have done, because he was just stood there particularly bored because everyone was avoiding him. Everyone was just kind of like intimidated. So, yeah, it was a bit strange. Michael P. I mean, yeah, the Star Trek Beyond premiere, which was an IMAX presentation that was done out on the island. Jeff Bezos sat behind me at the Star Trek Beyond premiere. Fair enough. That's you couldn't you'd sort of like turn around and tap him for sort of like beer money or something. That would have been interesting. But there we go. If you want to jump in, the link is in the. I'll put the link again in the chat. If you do want to find that piece of swag and join us, you're more than welcome. We'd love to have you on. Of course, I can screen anybody that's coming in, but if you do want to join us, I would love to have you on. But there we go. So that's mine, Cowboys and Aliens. That world premiere. It was a night to remember, and considering that I just about got the red, I was lathering myself with After Sun on the Thursday. Danbury, I think I have one of Leonard's new favorite pieces on Conswag. I do. Yes, the very nice sketch that has been done. Yes, yeah. But let me have a look at that. Anyway, right. So there we go. Right. I want to dive in then to a couple of things. We have ourselves some news. And we have some things to talk about, certainly off the back of what we talked about on Wednesday, which was a conversation with Joel Meadows. It was Thursday when we actually did the stream, and it was regarding the efforts of the comic industry to get through the situation we're in at the moment, where people were struggling or are struggling to get comic books out, which has meant that we are currently in a situation where a number of comic book shops are closed. They're not able to do curbside deliveries, and they really are starting to struggle, which means there's got to be other solutions out there, which means several people are trying to find a way to do something with a new option. And one of those options was going to be called, in conjunction with a company called Comic Hub. Now, Comic Hub is a digital retailer, very much like Comixology. The idea, however, was that it was dealt with by I think it's John. I want to say Hitchens. I think I've got his name wrong. Let's have a look. John Hendricks. Sorry. Retailer. It says he's the guy behind the Big Bang Comics in Dublin, one of the biggest retailers here in this side of the pond. And the idea was that it was an idea that was put forward that people would buy the digital codes for a comic, at which point directly after the situation has died down and the ability to get books out into the retailers, that the money would go to the retailer, the customer would get the code, but also get the book after the event when things have died down. However, at which point a whole stir of trouble kind of kicked in when it turned around. It looked like that retailers had stalled the initiative. John turned around and said to Newsrama, it's obvious from the concerns voiced by our peers that this isn't an initiative they can all get behind, but until such time we can all agree on a solution that fellow retailers support, there's no point in stew of Comic Hub continuing at this time. Indeed, retailer pushback was swift to the Comic Hub plan, which would have seen readers receive a digital edition of their print, regardless of when the print edition was available, in a planned workaround to the current cause on print distribution. It was an awkward situation. The only or the biggest issue that retailers found was we have no idea when this is going to finish. It's a case of whether those books would be available once the lockdown has been lifted. The amount of stock that would go into a retailer and then have to be mailed out to customers, the logistics of putting it all together, while it sounded like an idea which could have worked, it's just come to the conclusion that it hasn't worked. So Comic Hub then will likely go down as a well-intentioned but ultimately flawed attempt to address the current situation, shutdown of the comic industry, a problem that has already resulted in Marvel putting a third of its comic book output on hold, which, if I can switch over to that, which I thought I could. Let's see if we can just do that. So I'd like to do this pretty simply, but unfortunately, I don't think it allows me to, which is a shame. This is the other piece of news that I wanted to talk about, which is Marvel. Pausing work and release of 1/3 of its May and June titles, which is immense. Basically, a representative said 15 to 20% of the solicited titles would be affected, as some of them are twice monthly in May and June. The decision to pause work on the affected titles, according to the spokesperson, is to help spread the amount of publishing product over the coming weeks and months. Although we did have an announcement or something that was put by Donny Cates out on a statement, which was along the lines of there's also the way that the Marvel books also tie in with a number of the MCU product from the stuff that's going on onto Disney Plus, but also then going out onto the big screen as well, which we'll cover in a second, because that's my third piece of news, which we're going to get into. He turned around and said that some of those books and a number of those books also covered and gave some spoilers as to what would be happening with books and with characters such as Black Widow, such as the Eternals, such as Winter Soldier and the Falcon. All of this would have clashed with the books that they were putting out, which meant if they carried on putting out a number of the books that they were planning to do without the live action content to back it up, it just wouldn't have worked in terms of spoilers. So all talent's going to be paid to date by all accounts. So it's just more a case of just staggering the books to come out, which is an understandable statement, and it's an understandable thing to do, but still it also puts pressure on retailers and puts pressure on the comics industry when we have less and less content out there. It's just such a difficult situation for the industry to be in when we have the likes of Dark Horse, IDW, as well as Archie Comics, and also I believe it's Valiant that are putting pause on all of their releases. Image is staggering, Marvel is staggering, DC are putting out a handful of titles now, and it is now just a case of comics are few and far between on the not necessarily on the shelves, but just out as a digital format and just kind of getting to see them. Solicitor Smeg says, I wouldn't selling new and pre-orders of comics more regularly online solve this problem? Well, yes, but as DC put out on their retailers' Facebook private Facebook page, as reported by Bleeding Cool, they do regard digital and print as two separate markets. It is a case of people do like to collect comics. I've got rows of them behind me. I can open up that door, and I've got piles of books in there as well. There are the difference between those that just want to read the stories, get them on their Kindle or on their iPad and read them there, and then there's people that actually want to have them physically in their hands. When the books aren't being mailed out, then this would have been a stopgap for people to still appreciate those stories, while knowing that they were going to be getting a print version at some point down the line. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense, but then it's just a case of you're staggering all this content, and it just gets a little bit awkward. So it says, I mean, actually selling comic online. Well, yeah, it's the same. Like I say, it's you can buy the digital copy, and you can buy them on Comixology, even when Comixology about a month ago put up their prices by about 60%, which was for timing. But then there is that idea of having a physical comic in your hand as for those collectors that want to actually have and own a book. So it's about getting the books out. Considering that DC, I believe on Wednesday, on New Comic Book Day this week, they only had 5 titles, including Joker #1, which was the anniversary issue. That went out, but it was just a very slim pickings for any comic book fan that was reading. So there we go. Let's have a look at the comments. People still talking about the great things that they've been up to at Comic Cons and the things that they've gotten in terms of swag. Into the Blue Mister. Every sketchbook I bought from an artist at San Diego Comic Con is special because you get the time to chat to them for a minute. Absolutely, something we're going to be talking down the line on a future episode about. Still that the approaching artist an artist alley, because it is slightly intimidating for people who don't want to interrupt someone who perhaps is doing some work on a piece behind a table, but at the end of the day those people are there to meet their fans, so it's about the relationship, about that. Brandon Troy, I sat with Alyssa at the Star Trek Beyond premiere. Yeah, that everybody I know went to that thing, and except for me. But you know what? We were looking down from the piazza at the top of the convention center, looking down, and everyone was just looking like they were having an absolute blast. Karen Session, from what I'm hearing, Diamond Comics shutdown has had a tremendous impact on comic book shops. I don't doubt it at all. I think the biggest story from the whole idea, the whole story of Diamond Comics shutdown, is not necessarily the shuttering of Diamond Comics, because they have the whole nonsense of drivers that are now being told to stay home as part of the shutdown, which is understandable. The warehouses are shut down, but also now this story that because of the lack of money coming in from retailers, that they are not able to pay vendors. The threat that this could actually bring down Diamond Comics after a 3-week, 4-week shutdown kind of gives you an idea of just how precarious the entire comic industry is, considering that Diamond Comics is the monopoly of getting books out. So we could be seeing a seismic shift in how comics are out to shops and retailers. Indeed, Solicitor of Smeg is saying, do you think that when things get normalized, that there may be an overcorrection and comics might not have been okayed, might get thought might not have been okayed, might get thought in an attempt to publishers to recap losses? It's possible, but I also think I think you're going to see a snapback in the other direction. I think you're going to see a lot of content coming out once things are normalized, purely because people are going to be starved of story. There's only so much Netflix you can watch. There's only so many times you can watch Tiger King. So I think when it comes to comic fans, we are going to we're gonna swim in comics. We're gonna just drown in them. We're gonna want those stories, and we're gonna want those heroes back on the pages. That's for me. But like I say, Marvel have done that pausing of their print content, but it's not the only thing that they are kind of doing a change on, because we also have the news about Black Widow, Mulan, and indeed most of the live action content being pushed back, with Mulan getting 2020 dates, new dates later on in the year, with Jungle Cruise delayed by a year. And indeed the news that Artemis Fowl is going directly to Disney Plus, which kind of speaks volumes about the faith that Disney has in that particular title anyway. No date yet on when that is going to be reaching Disney Plus, but considering that we were looking at a corrected date for mid-May, I think we're looking at that about time when we'll be seeing Artemis Fowl debuting on Disney Plus. Saying here in the Hollywood Reporter, a move that could irk some cinema owners. I can kind of understand it, because it is a major Disney release, directed by a major player, and featuring some pretty big stars. But at the end of the day, that trailer that we last saw prior to the lockdown did not kind of help what we were wanting to see from from a fan's perspective, what we wanted to see from Artemis Fowl. And there was a lot of pushback before the lockdown kicked in, at which point there was that very much negative response to the trailer. And I think that also plays into the fact that they've decided to take it to Disney Plus first. Andrew Dickinson, still not a New Mutants release date. I still quite like that tweet from about 3 weeks ago, which went along the lines of, and I am paraphrasing, it is 3038. Sorry, 3038. The apocalypse has taken place. The ravaged ruins as the Fourth World War rages across the planet Earth. Most of North America is irradiated, and the starships are now starting to leave orbit. New Mutants still hasn't got a release date. I quite liked that as a tweet, and you know, it speaks volumes about what people think, whether that film will ever see the light of day. Is Solicitor Smeg, is that right? Onward is already on Disney because it didn't do great straight away. I think so, yes. That was an odd film. It was strangely marketed to start with, and it was such a high concept. I watched a couple of the trailers, I looked at the poster, and I still couldn't tell you what that film was about. The title wasn't great. It just didn't grab you. And I think we could have seen a little bit more. Hello there, cat. How are you? So I've just got Buzz, who's dived straight to this food. So there we go. Yeah. No, you can have that as well. Okay. Since New Mutants is an R-rated movie, it won't be on Disney Plus. I don't know, because I think they will have to start looking at the way that their older rated material has to go to that platform because it's the platform that they've made available to it. So I don't know. I personally think, yes, we'll see it on Disney Plus at some point, and we'll see a shift in what Disney does with that particular platform. Let's have a look at this. So the new dates: Black Widow's new home, November the 6th, used to belong to Eternals, which now goes out on February 12th, 2021. A date previously inhabited by Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Rings. Basically, everything is just being shifted. Lasseter is moving to May 7th, 2021, displacing Doctor Strange, now set for November the 5th, 2021. And you've got Thor, Love and Thunder relocated to February 18th, 2022. And Black Panther 2's May 6th, 2022 date is unchanged, while Captain Marvel 2 is moving up 2 weeks to July 8th, 2022. So those were the dates that have all been shifted. How that's also going to affect the Disney Plus releases, because that does have to sit within each of the release schedules, means that we're going to be seeing less content going out onto Disney Plus. So we'll just have to see how we go. Solicitor Smeg is suggesting that it's probably going to be put on, but it will be under parental controls like Netflix. Yeah, I suspect that's a case like that. So there we go. Right. Hyper RPG suggests that Disney put Artemis on Disney Plus as to avoid the embarrassment of the Toba. Yeah, I'm not expecting a great deal of that film, and I'm a huge Artemis Fowl fan. I'm a massive fan of the books. What it's going to do to the actual release of the film, I couldn't tell you. So there we go. That's what Marvel are doing, and it certainly speaks volumes about the whole shifting around of what is happening with comics industry, with pop culture industry. Everything is just being shifted away from the summer until the coronavirus situation is some kind of normalized. So there we go. Right. We're now going to, we haven't had anybody who's wanted to come on and share their swag, which is a shame, but I hoped that we'd get somebody, but never mind. Hopefully my Cowboys and Alien story entertained to some degree. Right, we're now going to do a little bit of things that we've introduced on the new shows on both Wednesday and Sunday show. The idea, oh right, this is where I'm also going to turn to you guys for your ideas, because I need some names for these features, okay? Because basically, what I'm wanting to do, a showcase of a crowdfunding effort that I want to put a spotlight on. But then I also want to do a artist, someone who's doing stuff online while all this is happening, and doing some amazing work online. So that's what I want to kind of do. But I need some names for these features. I can't just call it crowdfunder of the stream, or this episode's artist. They're terrible titles. We need some new names. So please do suggest them. Send them to my Twitter, Englishman SDCC, or just send them to in the comments below. Please do. Let's see if we can come up with a name for this feature, because I do want to showcase some great talent that's out there doing some fantastic work. I take no suggestions should include the words tea and bag. Well, of course you can. But I think, you know, our bag, our cup of tea. I don't know. Well, I could reclaim our cup of tea again, I suppose, and do that. So who knows? Any ideas for titles? Do jump in and let me know if there's anybody that's got some ideas. Andrew English, we'll come to your question in a second. We'll come back to that. But let's do our first one of this particular feature. We'll do the first of our it's a showcase of a crowdfunding effort that's out there at the moment, which caught my attention. Admittedly, it has already reached its target and is doing great guns, but it has itself 5 days yet to go, which means you can still invest. Make it simple, spotlight on. Yeah, that's something I could certainly use. But let's do this then. This is a crowdfunding effort which has caught my attention, and I'm absolutely blown away by this. It looks incredible, and it is called She. Excuse me, Dad. Is there any chance you can let him out? Thank you. This is She. It's the hardcover version. It's a novella cut of what they're doing. They're taking the issues that they've already done and turning it into volume 1 as a hardcover. But it's an absolutely gorgeous presentation of what they're up to. It's an amazing piece of work which they've got. And I'm just trying to find out so they get the more information, because it is available, like I say, on Kickstarter at the moment. Let me see if it's, yeah, it's it got itself an £8,151 goal, and it's managed to, it's getting close to £15,000, which means the stretch goals are absolutely incredible. But there's 5 days yet to go, so you can still get a number of the stretch goals, and well worth checking out. This is volume 1 at the Tower of All That Is Known. The thing about these guys, and it's Ryan K. Lindsay who has done this, the story of an intergalactic bounty hunter. The reason why his Kickstarters work is because he puts some amazing effort into the books, but he does that first. It's not something where, like a number of, say, Comic Gate efforts, they are putting out or starting their Kickstarter or Indiegogo with the promise of artwork or a product down the line. He goes out and he has things ready to go, which means the books are available. Like I say, the actual She comic has been already, including this with the variant cover, as you can see there, which riffs on the old X-Men cover. I mean, I've read the book, and I think it's a very, very impressive piece of work indeed. Some great character design, and it's a really engaging story. Like I say, it's combining and bringing all the issues together in this die-cut hardback edition. But he's also doing some great stretch goals, including, as you can see here, you've got some sort of like faux Lego pieces. You've got yourself a collector's box as well, some great pins, and even some sort of like made up Funko of figures, custom Funko figures which have been put together, and it's really well received and well recognized by the talent that's out there. It really is a great book, and well worth checking out. Like I say, we also have some great, I mean, the artwork's just fantastic. It's, like I say, it's a really dynamic book. Ryan K. Lindsay is a fantastic writer, and very much worthwhile checking out. Like I say, this is a Kickstarter with 5 days on it, and I would heartily recommend. Anyone else getting a Mass Effect vibe from the characters? Yes. If you read the book, you'll certainly get some of that as well. But imagine Mass Effect with a bit of spine to it. Very, very impressive indeed. Well worth checking out. That is She, and it is currently available as a Kickstarter. 5 days to go. Do check it out at the Tower of All That Is Known. So that is the Kickstarter, or the Spotlight Kickstarter, or the crowdfunding Spotlight. There you go. That's what we may call it. I don't know. Well worth checking out. The Spotlight artist of this particular episode is not exactly somebody who is a stranger to the world of comics or to anyone out there. It is, of course, Mr. Jim Lee. Jim Lee is doing something very special at the moment. He is raising money for some very worthwhile causes, and he's just doing great guns on selling original sketch art pieces. I believe he's doing 60 in total, and he's going to be doing them every couple of days and putting them out on a eBay page. Admittedly, the monies that these sketches are demanding, they're not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But the money that is being raised, the 60 sketches, which he's going to be drawing over the next 2 months, one a day, is going to be going to the Bink Foundation to benefit struggling comic book shops during the pandemic crisis. We're talking the Bink Foundation, which is the Book Industry Charitable Foundation, which has been up and running for 24 years, helping over 7,500 booksellers with cash assistance to allow them to keep going and support them. And I think it's just an incredible piece of generosity on the part of Jim Lee. He's just absolutely knocking these out of the park. And the sketches themselves are absolutely fantastic as well. Let me just bring up the other one as well. So that was the first one that has actually sold. He does have a couple that's currently on eBay and raising funds. So you have Bizarro. Let me just go full screen so you can appreciate these. These are just absolutely amazing. And you have this fantastic Azrael piece as well, which is just stunning as these daily sketches. It's Jim Lee, which means it's staggering stuff straight off the bat, and just absolutely incredible to see what he's doing. But as well as that, like I say, he's putting them on, and we're talking. I think you get 3 days to actually bid, which means let me just see if I can bring up the latest, because I kind of showed you ones which are currently up and running, but you also have, for example, this, which is an original sketch, Dr. Fate, which gives you an idea of what we're talking. It's $5,100. Yeah, can ship to the UK, but it's just absolutely amazing. So that's the Dr. Fate, as Dan Berry is saying there. Karen Session, anybody any idea how much they're going for? There you go, $5,100. Not cheap, but still, it's a Jim Lee sketch, and a chance for you to win them. I've got to also point out as well, Chunky Monkey 0000 is the actual eBay page at the moment. There are 3, like I say, at the moment, which gives you an idea of the kind of the staggering of what's going on. No one tell my cousin he would bankrupt himself trying to buy one, says Lister of Smake. Absolutely. So you've got that Bizarro one. It's currently at the moment with 5 hours left, so not far to go. That will sell tonight, and I suspect that will go into the 4,500 range. It's currently selling for 3,550. That's a chunky piece of cash. And then you have the Azrael sketch, which is currently going for $5,300, which is they're not cheap. They are not cheap, but they are going for a great cause, and they're original signed sketches by Jim Lee. You can't really say much more than that. It's just a way for a great amount of money to be raised for an incredible cause. So there we go. Aaron Neighbours, I would also like to add that a lot of artists that you'd normally see at cons are selling their original art to make up for lost revenue. I picked up some nice Godzilla from the artist Lensations. Indeed, do check out your artists of choice. There's a couple of artists I'd like to have seen do more work and giveaway work, but still waiting on them to kind of pick up the pace on that. These are the pieces that they've done. Toby Tonino, sorry. Beautiful drawings. Would love to try and color them. Anyone that buys these original sketches to then color, that's an expensive backboard. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Scan them maybe, and then get them colored maybe. So there we go. Dan Berry, Jim said it was the first Bizarro he's ever done, he thinks. So yeah, it's just incredible stuff. Scan it into the PC and then do it. Yeah, it says Scott Angus. Yeah, well, that's what you do, and you've got to buy the thing first. So if you've got the cash, there you go, Toby. It wouldn't do to the original. Heavens, no, absolutely not. So there you go. That's my artist. I want to kind of showcase indie artists and just people who are putting out some great work online. So if you have any suggestions, do tweet them into me, let me know, and I'll do what I can to showcase them on our weekly show. So it's going to be every Sunday and every Wednesday. So next Wednesday, we're looking for a new artist and a new Kickstarter, perhaps one that's just launched, maybe one that you are actively supporting. Let me know, and we'll do our best to showcase on Wednesday's show. Sarita P is reminding us, Jim is only doing DC characters. Ask for suggestions. Come on. Off the beaten track, sir. Let's pick some non-DC stuff. Come on. I mean, I know you're the only publisher for the company now, now that Dan's gone. Which, by the way, something else very quickly, if you get the chance, if you go to the Kubert School, Kubert School did a interview with Dan DiDio, which I'm going to watch tonight because I haven't got the chance to watching it. It is an hour and 10 live stream. And he talks about his time in the industry, his time at DC, and also he briefly touches on, by all accounts, his dismissal from the company and what he sees the future of the industry is going to be. It's on the Kubert School feed. Follow the Kubert School anyway, because it's the Kubert School, for God's sake. But you can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Twitter as well. That interview, it was streamed on Thursday, and I'm going to watch that this evening. So there we go. Right. And that, I think, is pretty much me. I would like to say thank you very much indeed for watching. I want to try and get these down to 45 minutes, but I think an hour is a nice steady time. It's a shame, like I say, that we didn't have anybody to come on and show their favorite pieces of swag, but thank you very much indeed for all of your stories. Thanks for all your tales. Thanks for sharing the envious stories about Star Trek Beyond. Yeah, I wouldn't have minded going to that particular screening, but you know what? I'm more than happy that I got to go to see Cowboys and Aliens with Steven Spielberg, who I didn't see at the bar afterwards. But the missus got to shake Jon Favreau's hand. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. What can you do? Back again on Wednesday. We've got a comment that's come in from Andrew English, and it's something I'm probably going to do a little bit more of a comment about on Wednesday's show. But if anything, because she hasn't asked for any help, she's just asked for support. This is Tess Fowler, who is going through some very serious medical issues. It's not coronavirus related, but she is looking at a very hard road ahead. I'll mention and I'll talk about her now very quickly, but it's not someone that I am going to be showcasing purely because I don't think she wants that kind of attention. I just want to say on behalf of everybody watching, if she does get to hear about this, we just wish her all the very, very best. We know that she's going to be going through a very tough time. She's got some surgery and some post-surgery chemo to undergo. It's just a case of hard work that she's going to have to go through. But she's going through it with the support of all of her friends and fans online and with her amazing partner, Chris. And I personally think that she's going to beat it. She's going to come out the other side because she's an absolute fighter. For myself and from everyone watching, Tess Fowler, all the very best to you, and we love you, and let's get you through this. It's serious stuff. Scott Angus, I'm going to say this now because it's all about spreading the word. We want to try and grow this community, this family of convention friends and family, each and every Wednesday and Sunday, as we kind of spread our love for Comic-Cons. This Wednesday, we're going to be having a special guest. I showcased her work on Thursday's show, which is something that she's doing on Twitter and also on Facebook. This is Rachel Smith. This is RACHELSMITH, Rachel Smith. Do search for her on Twitter. She's a British artist which does some incredible self-published books, talking about mental health, talking about her own loves, lives, and adventures. She's just an incredible artist, a great storyteller, and she's currently doing something called Quarantine Comics. Now, that's comics, COMIX. I've been sharing them on my Facebook. I've been sharing them on my Twitter as well. She's just amazing, and the strips are so good. If you get the chance to just search for the hashtag Quarantine Comics, search for it on Facebook, see what it's all about. It's real, it's honest, and they're just gorgeous pieces of artwork. She's going to be coming on the show on Wednesday. She's going to be talking about not only independent comics and that landscape here in the UK and what independent artists are going through at this point, as self-employed artists. So as you can imagine, it's a very tough time for people right now, especially in the creative community. So she's going to be coming on Wednesday, and then the Wednesday after, which if I just pull up my calendar and just remind myself, so that's on the Wednesday the 8th. On the Wednesday the 15th, we're going to be having J.H. Williams III on this particular channel. It's going to be a dedicated interview with him about his career, about the work he's doing, what he's done, how he's getting through the current situation, his interactions with fans. He really is a legendary artist, and I'm really looking forward to speaking to J.H. Williams III. That is going to be in not this Wednesday, the Wednesday after. So 2 great guests coming up. So Scott Angus is saying, everyone remember to hit the like button. It helps with your YouTube's algorithms. Absolutely. Please subscribe. Please share. Please spread the link. Let everyone know that we are here each and every week, and indeed twice a week, and talking about Comic-Cons, comics, and fandoms, because we're all in this together. And the more we have this communal hug online, the better, I think. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope you've enjoyed what we've talked about today. I want to try and have more guests, and we will be doing. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun talking to Rachel this Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. Dan Berry is saying, just be aware that a mad wizard when talking to JH. Good. That's just the way I want it. Yeah, he's Mad Wizard on Twitter. But he's an amazing artist, so very much looking forward to it. Toby's saying, should do another favorite swag episode. Only if you guys come on and share and show us your swag, show us your favorite bits and pieces. I do have a whole attic worth of stuff that I'd love to share, some bits and pieces. Into the Blue Mist, get some WD-40 on that door. Yes, that is going to happen. Don't worry. Aaron Neighbours, 5,000 Comic Con fit steps done while watching. You see, if I get enough money on, if I get enough Patreon money before the end of this scenario, what we're currently going through, if I can get a Peloton, I will do a full Peloton episode. I'll be on the Peloton doing a live stream. There you go. If you can, if we can raise that enough money, if I'll buy a Peloton, I'll do a full Peloton episode. So there you go. That's my Comic-Con fit. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Do spread and share the word. Like I say, you can watch on all of the different platforms. So please do spread the word in future for Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook. And I will be back on Wednesday talking to Rachel Smith. Looking forward to it. From me to you, you can follow, of course, on Englishman SDCC, and you can follow all the social medias. I will be back on Wednesday. From me to you, take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe, stay distant, wash your damn hands. Take care, guys.